Hi, it's János, this is Real World Audio, and this is the episode you've been looking for because I'm going to talk about Ferrite versus AlnIco drivers. So I started this series, did it last week, and I've been comparing people's experiences they report on how they see this difference between AlnIco and Ferrite motor drivers. And of course, with valid point, you all commented that there's more types of drivers than just Ferrite and AlnIco. That is absolutely true, but I just wanted the scope to just stay for these two because even for that I had 3 episodes already and I covered maybe a third or less what I really wanted to cover. And if I include more drivers on it, we are going to just get so off topic that really off topic. So I will go into other drivers as well, but for now I just want to stay focused on Ferrite versus AlnIco. And one more reason why I'm staying focused there, because this is the two type where I have experience with, where I played around a lot with both of these drivers, and that's why I can share about it. With the neodymium drivers, I have next to no experience. The Cube Audio FC8 is a hybrid ferrite neodymium driver, so that's my only in-depth experience that I can share about neodymium sound. But even that's something a totally outlier. That's not a typical neodymium sound at all. Very, very far from that. It's something different, and I will include it today. I will include it among the ferrite drivers, but it's an atypical, highly atypical ferrite driver. And as far as the field coils go, now just briefly, they are the best type of loudspeaker motors. The field coils, they've been the number one. They were the oldest ones. So when Rice and Kellogg developed their first electrodynamic loudspeaker, it had a field coil. At that time, we had no permanent magnets yet. So the very first one, they used an electromagnet to provide the electromagnetic backing for the voice coil's magnetic field to be able to propel the cone. And while some people may think this is ancient and outdated, the only reason why it's outdated is because the permanent magnets are cheaper, lighter, and easier to produce than field coil, but none of the permanent magnets can hold a flickering candle to field coil. And field coil was the past. That's how loudspeaker started. Then the present and near past has been the permanent magnet loudspeakers, and the future, the highest potential, is also field coils. It's not neodymium, it's just the present, it's just the latest flavor of our permanent magnet. But the true future, the true potential lies with electromagnets, because no matter how we build a motor, a loudspeaker driver's motor that basically makes sure that the cone can move, the strongest motors with permanent magnet, doesn't matter whether you use ferrite, neodymium, or AlnIco, any of these magnets, what they can produce, they top off around 2 Tesla in the voice coil gap. And that's all that counts. What is the magnetic field in the voice coil gap that acts as a backing for the cone movement? So the stronger the field, it is like if we think that a loudspeaker's job is like a dancer, that the membrane and the voice coil together with that assembly, it's a dancer. Then the what the magnet provides, that's the dance floor. And when we have a permanent magnet that's capable to provide a dance floor that is relatively firm, but it's kind of like in a quicksand, a little bit like quicksand. So it doesn't allow very swift motions, very swift turns, because when the dancer wants to move fast, then the field just gives way. It cannot propel itself very fast, very strong from the field, because the field is not strong enough to allow the slightest movements, to allow fast enough motion. And the stronger the field in the voice coil gap, it means that it has a better field, so it can propel itself faster. It's like a dancer who has a much better dance floor. And today's technology, the best is the 2 Tesla, like 2.1 Tesla. But it's kind of like 1.95, 2.0, 2.05, 2.1, and it's this 2 Tesla that the best, strongest motors today can provide. And they say, oh, neodymium is the future because it's so powerful. But it's the power per weight that's most dense for neodymium. But how your loudspeaker motor, how strong that is, it depends on the motor. So when we use a car analogy, it's like your magnet is like a cylinder, a piston, and the neodymium has the biggest piston. So basically, you need to use less pistons to have the same total volume of an engine. And of the three types, ceramic, AlnIco, and neodymium, AlnIco has the smallest volume. So it's like the car engine with the smallest pistons. But so basically, if you want to build equally strong engine from the three, it's like with the neodymium, you need like 3 cylinders. With ferrite, you need 6 cylinders, and with the AlnIco, you need a 12-cylinder engine. And staying with the car analogy, the smaller a cylinder, the faster the engine revs. And it's not an exact analogy that you can translate to magnets, but it kind of works like that. An AlnIco motor, it provides a magnetic field that for the softest signals, it provides a much more firm backing than either ferrite or neodymium does. So at the lowest signal level, AlnIco has a noticeable and strong advantage over ferrite and neodymium. But why many who listen to them don't notice it is because most systems today are totally unable to reproduce low signal levels. So if your amplifier cannot provide, because it's lost in the noise, in the background noise of the amplifier, and don't be put off by manufacturers giving you like stellar ratios. Wow, signal to noise 112 dB, 115 dB signal to noise ratio. But it doesn't mean that you have a 115 dB range for the signal. It means that the loudest signal the equipment measures is 115 dB higher than the brick hard noise floor of the system. It doesn't mean that like 10 dB off that brick hard noise floor, if it reproduces something, you will be able to hear it from the loudspeaker. No, you have to go much higher than that. Even when you are at 30 dB, you're still not hearing anything from the loudspeaker, or barely anything, because the amp, even though it has that fancy manufactured dynamic range that on paper, but in reality it does not translate it to music content. It just translates to from peak power output to no output. But when you are putting out something, whether it comes out or not, that's a little bit more complex, and how it interacts with the loudspeaker. And modern amplifiers, modern systems are optimized for ferrite sound and nowadays neodymium sound. So basically they feel happy. Their happy zone is loud SPL listening. So if you want to listen to loud, then Ferrite and Neo is your choice. That's where you will be happy with them, especially with modern systems. Now when you are going for vacuum tubes and purist technology, then then AlnIco will give you the opportunity to hear more into the low detail level, and it will allow you to be happy listening to at quieter volumes. So it's really your choice. What do you want to listen to? You want to push the volume higher, and then you will be very happy with ferrite solutions, possibly with neodymium as well, especially with modern gear. But if you want to give a break for your ears, and you want to quit that paradigm that to enjoy the music you have to listen to at the volume where the musicians play it, then guys, well, you can listen to it at that volume, and if it sounds great, you enjoy it, perfect. But just whisper soft warning: if you listen to at the volume where the musicians play, you will go deaf. So if that's your goal, to burn out your ears, or maybe it's not that goal, just if you do that real live musician volume, then you will lose your hearing, and then 10 years from now, that live musician volume will not be the same for you, will not be good enough. You have to crank it higher and higher every year, that optimal volume where your ears feel this. It goes up a dB or two every single year, and there will come a time when all of it will break down, because ferrite and neo, they can play loud, but when you push a little bit louder, especially with modern gear, tremendous listening fatigue will set in. So that's why I recommend a very, very large dose of caution when that's your goal, that you want to listen to constantly at live volume, and that's the only volume where your system sounds good. Then you are on the road, on the fast track of burning out your ears. So it's like pouring hot wax in your ears every time you listen to music. And when you will be like 20 years from now, that's it. High-end audio is a bye-bye for you. Then you can try experimenting with hearing aids, and that won't work. And eventually, even if you like listening to loud music, I still recommend to experiment with solutions that give you the same level of enjoyment at lower volumes. And I think one of the main reasons why people go for that loud volume is because when you turn the volume down, then it doesn't sound good. And it's not because it has to be the same volume where they played the music. No, if your system is good, it will play with a feel of live music that's quieter, but it will feel is like you are further away on the stage. So, for example, with my Altec speakers, the voice of Lancelot, even if I put them to almost whisper volume, it still feels like I'm listening to a live concert. It's just I'm distanced out from them, but the scale is still huge, it's big, and I'm at a concert. I have that feel that there's like tons of people in the audience with me. I'm there at the concert. But when you have a ferrite driver, then their tendency is that when you turn the volume down, the sound collapses, and it's not a concert anymore, just Mickey Mouse is me squeaking, and where's the bass, where's the highs, where's the feeling, where's the space? It's gone. And that's because the very low level signal handling of these drivers is not as good as AlnIco. And when you go for field coil, their low level signal handling is even better than the AlnIcos, but they are way more rare than AlnIco drivers and way more expensive, and they introduce way more complexity to your system. And most people's systems are not good enough to handle AlnIco, and Ferrite, field coil is a long shot from AlnIco. So that's why for me there's no point talking about field coil for you guys, because most of us are just so far away from having a system where you can enjoy field coil that this is not the time for you. So when you ask the question, is field coil better than AlnIco, it's at a time of your audio journey when your system is very far away from being ready for a field coil. You are not even ready for an AlnIco. And what I'm doing is I'm getting you ready for that if you want to have that experience. And some say it's so rare or so expensive or whatnot. No, like what I'm sharing with you guys is the Darling amplifier. For a few $100s you can build it for yourself, and it's good enough that you can enjoy the benefits of AlnIco, so that you can play it quietly and it will still give you a fulfillment, that type of experience. Now I think that was my primer of my experience with Ferrite and AlnIco, but it's more than that. It's even more than that. We cannot just condense it to that. There's more, and I love both Ferrite and AlnIcos, and now I'm hitting 16 plus minutes, so I leave it to another episode where I'm just taking an inventory of my favorite drivers, loudspeakers that I've played around in the past 20 years, why I think they are special, and in what circumstance do they work, because I cannot just say that I prefer AlnIco or I prefer Ferrite. It has to be depending on the room where they are, or how I want to use them. It's there's differences where I would choose one over the other. So I think for you who are watching my videos, for you the most informative is not AlnIco is better or Ferrite, but looking at an actual driver. So if you want like a single driver, high quality one, then and then you already know you want a single driver loudspeaker, and you have a small room, you have an amplifier that has maybe 1 or 2 watts or maybe 3-4 watts output power. You want to listen to soft volume, medium volume. Sometimes you want to push a little high, but you don't want like neighbors banging on your door type of volume. Then this is something that you want. But what is this and what are these different circumstances, different conditions? I will continue with that. So thank you for listening. Have an awesome day. Please like and subscribe. Bye bye.